Have you ever wondered where exactly Jesus was during the 72 hours between his death and resurrection? Some say he was unconscious in the tomb. Others claim he was in a spiritual realm. But what if the truth is far more mind-blowing than anyone imagined? Today, we're going to solve this mystery once and for all. We'll explore the biblical evidence, uncover ancient prophecies, and reveal the cosmic battle that was raging during those 3 days. Get ready for a journey that will transform your understanding of the resurrection and your own place in God's plan. Picture this: a quiet garden at night, the Mount of Olives looming in the darkness. Jesus and his disciples gather for prayer, but something feels different tonight. Suddenly, footsteps and clanking armor break the silence. The disciples' hearts race. Out of the shadows, Judas appears, leading armed men. His face is a mix of guilt and determination. But here's where things get interesting. Jesus doesn't run or fight back. He steps forward calmly, almost as if he expected this. Why isn't he afraid? As the soldiers close in, a question hangs in the air. Why did it have to happen this way? Couldn't God have found another way to save humanity? This betrayal isn't random. It's the first piece of a much bigger puzzle that's been in motion since the beginning of time. Everything happening is part of a plan that affects you and me too. The soldiers are getting closer, weapons glinting in the moonlight. The disciples are torn between fleeing and standing their ground. Jesus is about to say something that will shake everything they thought they knew. What happens next will make you question everything about sacrifice, love, and God's plan for humanity. Are you ready to uncover the truth that could change your life forever? From the tranquil garden to the chaotic streets, Jesus' journey takes an unexpected turn. These trials weren't about finding the truth at all. Dark forces were at work, manipulating the entire crowd. Imagine being dragged through the streets at night, facing hidden accusers. Your heart races as you're pushed from one hasty trial to another. This was Jesus' reality before the Jewish leaders and Pontius Pilate. But these weren't normal trials. They broke all the rules. The Jewish leaders held their trial at night against their own laws. They didn't let Jesus defend himself properly. Why the rush? As dawn broke, Jesus faced Pilate. The Roman governor seemed unsure. Then something shocking happened. The crowd's mood shifted dramatically. At first curious, now angry. What caused this sudden change? It was as if an unseen force turned people against Jesus. Shouts for his crucifixion grew louder. Pilate's wife even warned him, saying,
"Don't have anything to do with that innocent man, for I have suffered a great deal today in a dream because of him." Matthew 27:19.
But her warning went unheeded. These trials exposed everyone's hearts. The leaders' jealousy, Pilate's fear, the disciples' confusion, all laid bare. But what about you? Whose side would you have been on? Pilate made his shocking decision. He condemned Jesus to death by crucifixion. But was this really the end? Or just the beginning of something bigger? These trials were part of a plan set in motion long ago. A plan that would shake heaven and earth. But how could such injustice lead to the greatest act of love? The crowd thought they had won. The leaders believed they had silenced Jesus forever. But they were about to learn. Sometimes, what looks like defeat is just the first step towards an incredible victory. What surprising twist awaited them? Have you ever imagined walking towards your own death? For Jesus, each painful step through Jerusalem's streets held a deeper meaning. Amid the cruelty, unexpected kindness emerged. These moments revealed the true purpose of his brutal journey. The streets of Jerusalem echoed with the sound of heavy footsteps and clanking armor. Jesus, beaten and exhausted, began the long walk to Golgotha. His body was in shock from the severe scourging. Each step was agony, yet something kept him moving forward. What drove him? Surprisingly, compassion appeared in the darkness. Simon of Cyrene was forced to help carry the cross, while women in the crowd wept for Jesus. These acts of kindness stood out like beacons of light, showing that even in our darkest moments, hope can shine through. But Jesus carried more than just a wooden cross. He bore the weight of the world's sins. With each step, he fulfilled ancient prophecies and set in motion a plan to change everything. Most people watching had no idea what was really happening. What did Jesus know that they didn't? As they neared Golgotha, a strange calm settled over Jesus. The jeering crowd and his pain seemed to fade away. It was as if he could see beyond this apparent defeat to something much greater. But what? This wasn't just a walk to death. It was the fulfillment of a divine plan set in motion long ago. Every moment of suffering had a purpose. Jesus was doing more than dying. He was conquering death itself. The true test of Jesus' resolve was about to begin. As they reached the hilltop, what would happen next would shake the foundations of heaven and earth. Are you ready to witness the moment that changed history forever? As Jesus hung on the cross, the world around him changed dramatically. Darkness fell at midday, as if creation itself couldn't bear to watch. The ground shook violently, rocks split apart, and in the temple, something incredible happened. The huge, thick curtain separating the most holy place tore from top to bottom. These weren't random events. They were powerful signs, pointing to something much bigger. Nature itself seemed to be reacting to Jesus' death. People who witnessed these things started to wonder, had they made a terrible mistake? As the hours passed, Jesus spoke puzzling words. He cried out, asking why God had forsaken him. He spoke of being thirsty. His last words were, "It is finished." But what did he mean? What was finished? The torn temple curtain wasn't just a coincidence. For centuries, that curtain had kept people away from God's presence. Only the high priest could go behind it, and only once a year. Now, it was wide open. This could only have been done by God's power, showing that the barrier between him and people was gone. These supernatural events weren't just about Jesus' death. They were the first signs of an incredible victory. Something was happening that would change everything forever. But what exactly was going on during those dark hours? And how does it connect to your life today? The answers might surprise you, but first, let's look at how these events affected those who were there. What did the Roman soldiers think as the sky turned black? How did the religious leaders react when they heard about the torn curtain? Their responses reveal a lot about what was really happening that day. A borrowed tomb, a hasty burial, and a giant stone rolled into place. Is this really the end? That tomb held more than just a body. It contained the key to eternity itself. As the sun set, Jesus' followers raced against time. The Sabbath approached, forcing them to work quickly. Joseph of Arimathea, a secret disciple, offered his own newly carved tomb. They wrapped Jesus' body in linen, following Jewish custom, and gently laid him inside. But something felt off. Despite death's finality, an unsettling sense lingered that this story wasn't over. What important detail were they missing? Roman guards took their positions as darkness fell. The authorities claimed they were there to prevent the disciples from stealing the body. Yet these same disciples hid in fear, their hopes shattered. What unseen forces were really at work? An invisible battle raged around that sealed tomb. The powers of darkness thought they had won, while heaven itself seemed to hold its breath. What cosmic drama was unfolding beyond human sight? The disciples huddled in secret, their world turned upside down. Had Jesus' words about rising again on the third day slipped their minds in their grief? That massive stone wasn't just a barrier, it was setting the stage for what was to come. As Jerusalem slept, something amazing was brewing. The disciples thought it was over, but they were about to discover that sometimes what looks like defeat is just the first step towards an incredible victory. What would happen when that stone was rolled away? The answer would change everything, forever. But wait, there's more to this story than meets the eye. What if the true purpose of those 3 days in the tomb went far beyond what anyone imagined? Get ready, because what happens next will challenge everything you thought you knew about life, death, and what comes after. Have you ever wondered what happened during those 3 silent days after Jesus' crucifixion? While his body lay motionless in the tomb, an unseen battle was raging in the spiritual realm. But why does this matter to you? For 3 long days, the world held its breath. Jesus' followers were in hiding, afraid and confused. Yet something incredible was happening in the unseen realm. Jesus' spirit wasn't resting. It was on a mysterious journey, fulfilling ancient prophecies in unexpected ways. Remember when Jesus told the criminal on the cross, "Today you will be with me in paradise." He wasn't talking about heaven as we usually think of it. Instead, Jesus descended into what the ancient Jews called Abraham's bosom, where righteous souls waited for the Messiah. Can you imagine their excitement when Jesus himself appeared? But Jesus wasn't there just to visit. He came to proclaim victory over death and sin. The Bible tells us in 1 Peter 3:19 that Jesus made proclamation to the imprisoned spirits. This was a declaration of war against the powers of darkness. For centuries, death had held people captive. Even the most righteous couldn't enter God's presence. Now, Jesus was breaking down those barriers. The powers of darkness trembled, sensing their defeat. How could one man change everything? As the third day dawned, creation itself seemed to be holding its breath. In that moment, Jesus broke death's power once and for all. He freed the captive souls who had been waiting for so long. This 3-day period wasn't just about waiting. It was about Jesus claiming complete victory over death, hell, and the grave. When he rose, he brought with him the keys to death and Hades, Revelation 1:18. What does this mean for you? Because of what Jesus did during those 3 days, death no longer has the final say in our lives. But there's more to this story than just what happened back then. The impact of those 3 days is still unfolding today, in ways you might never have imagined. As the sun rose over Jerusalem, a group of women approached Jesus' tomb, carrying spices to anoint his body. Their grief turned to shock when they found the massive stone rolled away and the tomb empty. Suddenly, 2 men in dazzling clothes appeared, asking, "Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen." The news spread quickly, but people reacted in surprising ways. Some felt joy, others disbelief, and some even fear. Why did the same event cause such different responses? The disciples were skeptical at first. Peter and John raced to see for themselves. They found the linen wrappings neatly folded, but no body. Who would steal a body and leave the grave clothes behind? As more evidence emerged, it all pointed to something that seemed impossible. But hadn't Jesus predicted this very thing? The empty tomb wasn't just about a missing body. It hinted at a new kind of life, one that conquered death itself. What could this mean for Jesus' followers? And more importantly, how might it change your life today? The clues left behind painted a compelling picture. This wasn't a case of grave robbery or mistaken identity. Something truly extraordinary had happened. But what exactly? And why did it matter so much? As word spread, more questions arose. If Jesus had really risen from the dead, what would that mean for those who believed in him and for those who didn't? The answers were about to unfold in ways one could have imagined. Imagine meeting someone you saw die, but now they're alive and transformed. This wasn't a dream or a ghost story. It was the mind-bending reality Jesus' followers faced after his resurrection. How would you react if it happened to you? Jesus appeared to his disciples in various settings, each time with a purpose. Some believed right away, while others struggled with doubt. Why? It often came down to how ready they were to accept something so incredible. These encounters weren't fleeting visions. Jesus proved he was physically present, eating with his followers and inviting them to touch his wounds. In Luke 24:39, he said,
"Look at my hands and my feet. It is I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see I have."
Why was this physical proof so important? Each meeting revealed something new about Jesus' resurrected state. He could appear and disappear at will, pass through locked doors, yet still be touched and recognized. His body was both familiar and radically different. What exactly had changed? Thomas, one of the disciples, famously doubted at first. But when Jesus appeared and offered proof, Thomas exclaimed, "My Lord and my God." John 20-28. Why did Jesus allow this doubt, only to address it so directly? As more people encountered the risen Christ, a profound question arose. What did this mean for the future? If death couldn't hold Jesus, what other rules of reality no longer applied? The disciples began to grasp that this wasn't just about one man coming back to life. It was the start of something much bigger. These appearances had profound implications. They proved Jesus' victory over death was both spiritual and physical. They transformed discouraged followers into bold proclaimers of a world-changing message. Most importantly, they offered hope, not just for life after death, but for a new kind of life right now. But here's what's really interesting. The story of Jesus' resurrection isn't just ancient history. Its impact continues to unfold today, touching lives in ways the first disciples could never have imagined. How might it change your life if you truly believed it? The resurrection of Jesus isn't just a happy ending to a sad story. It's a cosmic shift that changed everything. When Jesus walked out of that tomb, he broke death's power forever. Think about it. Throughout history, death always had the final say. No matter who you were, everyone ended up in the grave. But Jesus changed that. He faced death and came out victorious. This victory means hope for all of us. Because Jesus conquered the grave, anyone who believes in him can share in that triumph. Death is no longer the end. It's a doorway to something greater. Ancient prophecies suddenly make sense in this new light. King David wrote,
"You will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, nor will you let your faithful one see decay." Psalm 16:10.
He was looking forward to Jesus' resurrection. But what else might we have missed? What other promises in the Bible take on new meaning now that we know death isn't the end? The disciples saw things differently after the resurrection. Their mission took on new urgency. Why? Because they realized they were offering people a chance at eternal life. As news spread, the world began to change. People who once feared death found courage. Those who felt hopeless discovered a reason to keep going. The message of new life in Christ turned the Roman Empire upside down. Christ's resurrection didn't just open the way to heaven after we die. It offers us new life right now. As the Apostle Paul put it, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here. 2 Corinthians 5:17. But what does this new life really look like? And how can we experience it for ourselves? The answers might surprise you. The story of Jesus' death and resurrection is a living invitation to you right now. It's a cosmic victory that broke the power of death itself. This triumph offers hope to anyone who believes, transforming life from the moment you accept it. Imagine waking up each day knowing that nothing can separate you from God's love, not even death. It's about a new kind of life that starts now. Not just what happens after we die. But here's the thing. This gift isn't forced on anyone. It's a choice. Will you brush it off as an old story? Or will you let it change everything? Jesus said,
I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. John 11:25.
What if that promise is meant for you? The power to reshape your entire existence could be just one decision away. Speaking of power that changes everything, there's another moment in Jesus' ministry that holds an incredible secret. The feeding of 5,000 wasn't just about multiplying bread and fish. Hidden within this famous miracle lies a shocking truth that no one talks about. One person's story from that day will challenge everything you thought you knew about God's provision. The real reason behind this miracle, it's far deeper than hunger. Watch the video on your screen now to discover why one person walked away hungry when thousands were filled.